Yeah, 1 minute now. Okay. We're on it. Okay. Council staff, thanks very much for joining us this evening, the February 21st, 2004. Great day weather-wise. We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Today's meeting is being held as a hybrid meeting. It may be streamed live as well as recorded and published on the Southwest Middlesex YouTube channel. We'll begin the meeting with an acknowledgement. First Nations will begin this gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is a traditional territory of First Nations people who have a long-standing relationship with the land, water, and region of Southwest Middlesex. We convey our respect to our First Nation neighbors and thank them for their contributions to our culture, community, our past, and partnerships in the future. Council, we're at number 3 on the agenda. Additions to the agenda, it's been circulated, and is there any comments? I see our clerk's hand up.
Thank you, Your Worship. Before we jump to number 3, I believe one of the members of council would like to speak to number 2.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, Amy, I missed you there. I have it in my notes that there may be a conflict.
Yes, I do have pecuniary interest with 8A1 and 16A due to having a business relationship with someone involved.
Okay, thank you very much. The agenda has been circulated. Any additions to the agenda? Seeing none, the motion is that the regular agenda of council dated February 21st, 2024 be accepted as presented. Is there a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Don McCollum, Councillor McCollum, and Deputy Mayor Schuldice. Discussion? All in favor? Carried. At the time of my review with Mr. Bushel, there were no delegations and presentations. I presume that still holds.
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you. Consent agenda. The is very light, council. The minutes of the regular meeting held on February 14th be received. The recommendation is there. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councillor Choi, Councillor McGill, that the minutes of the meeting held on February 14th be accepted as presented. All in favor? Carried. Council, we have a committee of adjustment for us this evening, and we will require a motion that we leave the council and enter into a committee of adjustment at 6:04. Is there a mover for that, please? Okay, Don and Amy, Mr. McCollum, Councilor McCollum, Councilor Choi. All in favor? Thank you. I've got 6:04 on that, Alan. We'll call the Committee of Adjustment to order. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? The minutes have been circulated with this. The recommendation is that the January 24th Committee of Adjustment minutes are received and approved by the committee. Is there a mover and a seconder? Okay, Counselor Choi, Counselor Vink. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. We are now into the Committee of Adjustment. Alana, are you with us this evening? You are, right in front of us there. I looked up at the screen. Could you advise the committee, Alana, of the purpose and effect of this application for a minor variance?
Thank you, Chair. Through you. So the purpose and effect of the minor variance application is to permit the construction of a 269 square meter single detached dwelling, which would result in a lot coverage of 36%, whereas the maximum lot coverage permitted in the residential first density R11 zone is 30%. The subject lands are designated residential within the Southwest Middlesex official plan and zoned residential first density R11 according to the zoning bylaw. The applicants are requesting an increased lot coverage to ensure the garage will be large enough to accommodate their vehicles. The variance was evaluated against the 4 tests of a minor variance. Staff is of the opinion that the variance meets all 4 tests, being that the variance is considered minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate use of the land, maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan, and maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. It is not anticipated that the increase in lot coverage would cause any adverse negative impacts to abutting residential lands. The proposed single detached dwelling will not be any closer to the street than permitted, and all other zoning standards are capable of being met. In regards to comments received from staff and agencies, no objections or concerns were noted by the chief building official, county engineer, Lower Thames Valley Conservation Authority, or St. Clair Region Conservation Authority. The manager of public works noted the owner ensures connection to municipal water and sanitary services in accordance with municipal design standards. No public comments have been received to date. Staff recommend that the minor variance application be granted for the reasons outlined in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alana, for that presentation. Council, as you know, there's a procedure we have to follow during this committee process. Is the applicant present, or do they have any remarks?
No, your worship.
Okay, thank you. Clerk Allen, have there been any oral or written submissions?
No, your worship.
And committee, it's our opportunity to discuss this. Are there any questions that you would like to ask Alana through the chair? Yes, Alan, please go ahead.
Thank you, your worship, and through you, I'd like to apologize. I admitted a note in that we should ask for any member of the public. I would like to speak right now.
Okay, any members of the public we wish to speak? And we've asked the applicants if they would like to speak, and none present. Committee discussion. Councilor, is there any information you'd like to access through the chair? Seeing none, we will go on to the decisions. Recommendations in front of you, and the planner has advised that it be granted the application for minor variance A2 2024 to permit the construction of a 2,896 square foot detached dwelling be accepted. Is there a mover and a seconder? Yep, Councilor Myers, and a seconder for that. Councilor Haggett, any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Another house coming on our assessment. Thank you very much, Alana. Future meetings, staff will advise you. At this time, I'll ask for a motion that we adjourn from committee. Is there a mover and a seconder for that, please? Councilor McGill, seconder for adjournment. Councilor Choi, all in favor? Carried. Council, number 7 of the agenda are public meetings. There are none. Number 8, staff report, 8A drainage. Andrew, George, thank you very much for bringing this to our table. And George, you make yourself at home and give us council a synopsis of what this is all about.
Thank you, your worship.
My bad. Your worship, minor point of order. We do need,
Motion to go back into regular council.
Yes, please.
Better do that. We are going into regular council. We are leaving the committee. Dawn, can you move that? Yep, okay, and seconder for that, Martin. All in favor? We are in council.
Thank you, your worship. So we are pleased to present our report tonight on the Taggart Drain 2023. This initially started as a request to enclose a portion of the open ditch. At the on-site meeting to gather information, it was reported that the existing tile was installed in 1957, was in poor working shape, and the project was extended to replace that as well. Overall, we're replacing both the main drain here and branch B. So there's approximately 2 kilometers of tile drain being replaced here. And there is a small enclosure here for approximately 175 meters, which has been reviewed with the Conservation Authority and DFO and has received approval. So there will be a little portion there that was affecting the cropping of their land to be enclosed. The remaining portion of the ditch on that property will be improved to accept the new tile outlet here. Total cost of this work is estimated at $374,000. The work starts at New Biggin and goes northerly towards Thames Road there, where it crosses Thames Road before and under the highway there, and then coming along the let's call it the east side of the road there to its head on Thames Road. If there's any questions from councilors, I would welcome them now through you, the chair.
Thank you very much, George. Council, our opportunity to speak. And before we do, council, I will ask if there's anyone in the gallery that wishes to speak regarding this application. Okay, I don't see any. And a request from those present to add or remove their names from the petition. There are none. Comments or questions from members of council to George? If there's any questions, it's a great time to do it. Martin, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Allen. This is to George, just for interest sake. There's different branches involved. And I was looking at the watershed area, and I know it's 1 or 2 owners are not involved in the drain. Is that because of branch A is not included, or I'm just trying to understand what's going on here?
Yes, so I think you're talking on branch A that runs along New Biggin here.
Yes.
Yeah, so that will be, it's an existing drain there that had some improvement in the past. It hasn't been all improved, but it was reviewed with the owners, and, you know, we asked them to submit a request to improve it if there was any desire. So nobody, you know, cared enough to the point where they submitted a request formally or even informally. We had talked about that options. Right now it's approximately, let's say 20 meters, so 60 or 70 feet from the end of the drain. So we didn't include any special works for them because it's just a very small portion of the ditch on the bottom, you know, 20 meters or 70 feet, just to keep it simple. They've been excluded from anything beyond that.
Okay, no, thanks.
Okay, any further questions, council? Seeing none, we have to make a decision. There is a recommendation before us that council accept the engineer's report in reference to the Taggart Drain and refers the bylaw to the bylaw section of the agenda for first and second reading. Someone move that, please. Okay, Councilor McCollum, seconder for that, please. Councilor Haggett. Questions? All in favor? Carried.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there. Amy can come back in. George, thank you very much, and thanks Street and Associates. I'm glad we got you. Welcome back, Councilor Choi. We're going into Andrew's report on the Haggerty Drain. Andrew, if you could give us some background on this. And is your mic on, Andrew? Just turn your mic on.
Okay, so the Haggerty Drain number one, some of the background to this. It was originally constructed under an engineer's report back in 1944 with subsequent improvements completed since then. For the past number of years, it's been noticed that the drain is not working the way residents on the drain would like it to, specifically between CPR Drive and Knapdale Drive. It is of the opinion of the requester that the principal concern is in the area of the CPR tracks. However, to ensure there aren't any further issues that it needs to be addressed, an engineer should be appointed to carry out a survey of the drain at least between Knapdale to CPR Drive. Given the circumstances of the request, it is not likely that a simple cleanout would provide the solution. With regards to the financial implications, there's no immediate implications, as we all know. However, Knapdale Drive, CPR Drive, and possibly other roads would be assessed towards this project. At this point, I would recommend that council appoint Sweet and Associates under Section 78 of the Drainage Act for Concession 3, Lot 10, former Eckford Township, to improve part of the Haggerty Drain number one.
Thank you, Andrew, for that report. Council, any questions you wish to ask Andrew through the chair? Yes, Councillor Vink, please go ahead.
It's actually former Mosley Township.
I'm sorry. Yes, that is exactly right. It is the former. Yes, my apologies.
And then another question, so the railroad, obviously there's problems with the railroad.
Right.
So I try to figure out that you want to get an engineer, but will this drain still work without carrying out with the railroad?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Currently, it is working, but just not to the extent that the people on the drain would like it to work. In larger rain events, there are multiple culverts that have been punched through the tracks in the past, but they're just not as big as what people on the drain would like that to be. It does take special care to keep that clean because it is brushland and debris finds its way up against the culverts. So I have been in contact with CP in the past and they have cleaned it out. It provides some relief for the time, but I think what the people on the drain would they would like long-term improvements.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Vink. Thank you, Andrew. Any further questions? Yes, Councillor McGill, go ahead.
Yeah, so through the mayor to Andrew. So which way does the water flow there? Is the CP tracks upstream or downstream of where the work's gonna be done?
They would be right in the middle. However,
Okay, I see.
the water moves in a westerly direction. I guess towards the left of the page. It all finds its way into the Haggerty Creek and then into the Sydenham closer to Florence. It's quite a large watershed.
Okay. Any further questions? Any follow-ups, Mark? You're okay? All right. Okay, last call for questions. Andrew's made a recommendation here that the council accepts, or the council appoints Street and Associates under Section 78 of the Drainage Act for Concession 3, Lot 10, former Mosley Township, to improve part of the Haggerty Drain. Is there a mover and a seconder? Councillor Vink, Councillor Choi. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Council, and Andrew, thank you. We're not done with you yet. We got one more, the Stinson Drain. Could you advise Council on the history of this?
Yes, sir. Background, the most recent report the municipality has on file for the drain was written in 1981 by Nisbet Latham Limited. It provided a clean out for a good portion of the drain and bridges to be constructed. The bridge and lawn enclosure in question seems to have been lowered in this report, and this usually means that the steel pipe was not replaced, but it was reused in a lower elevation to provide more, better, I guess, larger watershed perhaps, usually, better, freeboard and drains. So for the past few years, the staff have noticed that there's been sinkholes in the yard in the area of the lawn enclosure. We know that there's a couple, at least one or two. This normally means the culvert is in poor condition. Even though the structure mentioned in the past report, the issue is that there's no specific instructions on the cost breakdown. When replacing the structure, this means there's no fair way to replace it under maintenance. As a result, the owner of concession 2 lot 3 submitted a request under 78 to appoint an engineer to replace all or part of the structure. At this point, it is staff's recommendation that the council appoints an engineer, appoints Street and Associates under Section 78 of the Drainage Act. And I am open to questions at this point.
Council, any questions on the Stinson drain you'd like to put through the chair? Seeing none, Andrew, has a recommendation before you on the Section 78. I have a mover and a second for that, please. Good, thanks. Councilor Myers, seconder. Councilor Vink. Last call for questions. All in favor? Carried. Andrew, thanks very much for working through that. Council, we're at number 9 on the agenda. Any notices of motion? I've been advised of none. Correspondence and petition, I've been advised of none. Unfinished business, I have been advised of none. And new business, there was nothing from the consent agenda. Any other matter council wish to bring to forward? Okay, that's done. County council and conference updates, none are submitted. Announcements, councilors, anything going on in your wards or anything like that? I want to thank the volunteers for the Family Day festivities. They went very, very well. Linda and I paid a visit to the library. That was pretty good. They had lots of children there making crafts and things of that nature. And we then went on to Eckford, and they were serving free hot dogs. Everyone seemed to be enjoying them. The Lions Club, we certainly thank them. And members of the Community Care Committee, CCC, we certainly appreciate their volunteerism as well. There was a number of them there, and it was a good thing. Photography, booths, puppet shows, crafts for the kids, and also thank Recreation for the free skate as well. We enjoyed, they enjoyed that in the afternoon. I'm not sure who the sponsoring body was, but we appreciate it. Any further announcements? Seeing none, council, we will move over to closed session at 6:23. As per section 2392 of the Municipal Act, to consider the following. Okay, Alan, do we need anything more than that, or is that?
Just as long as we have it's under section 239-2 of the Municipal Act, we are okay.
Okay, and that's been reiterated. Okay, 239-2 of the Municipal Act. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Choi, Councillor McCullough. All in favor? Carried. We'll let Alan shut us down, and I'll hand the gavel